obviously looking at the scenery. There's only one place we can be, and that's Wales. I'm at the Sweet Lamb Adventure Centre for the round 2 of the Baja Rally champs. So I just got here. Everyone's just they open the gates at 4 o'clock, so it's about 4:05, and people have just started getting here. I'm one of the first here, so just going to start setting up now, and decided to bring the bike covered up for this trip because it got minging last time coming up here in all the rain and the wet, so I'm glad I did that now, and that cover's worked a treat on there. So yeah, I think I best get set up, get the gazebo up or the tent, and then get my arse over to scrutineering. Right, catch you in a bit. Right, good morning. Saturday morning here at the Baja Rally at the Sweet Lamb Adventure Centre in Wales. I'd like to say sunny Wales, but there's a bit of blue sky coming in. It's not going to be too bad today. It was horrendous last night though, wind and rain. I thought we were going to get washed away. We're right by a stream over there, so that got very noisy in the night. Anyway, so just doing last bits of prep now. So obviously did scrutineering last night, took the bike over, so they just quickly checked over the bike. So we got our numbers. Is that the boringest number ever? So I've been scrutineered, and so just getting ready, just final bits, just thinking about what kit to wear, because maybe it's going to be a little bit wet, but you don't want to get too hot, you don't want to be too cold. It is tricky to know what to do. So anyway, so the bike's good to go. What have I done to the bike? Not a lot since I spoke to you last, so probably running these Kendas today, these Kenda Enduros. So that's a K779 on the back and the 777, is it, on the front? Yeah, so the 777 on the front. They seem quite a good tyre for this, quite soft. So yeah, so running the Kendas, that's going to be good. We've had to fit the old transponder there, look, so transponder's on, good to go. And so I've just been having breakfast, sorting myself out, charging up the Camelback. So I'm going to take my day sack, got a few spares in that, not a lot, a bit of warm kit, but it's mainly got my fluids in it, some water, and I've put some of this powdered stuff in it. So that is the maltodextrin stuff that I always use, which is like, you know, energy drink, because you need to keep your energy levels up, although it is fairly chilly, but you will burn off a lot of fluids, and you need the sugar, you need the energy. So I have got a few chocolate bars and flapjack squirreled about the bike. So I'm just going to sort out my goggles now. So I've got a few sets of goggles that I bought with me, but what I'm probably going to go with is these. So I've prepped these, ready to go. Oh, bear with, caller. Yeah, so prepped these, ready to go. I'm just going to stick a film on them, one of these Armour Vision films. So that's a brand new clear lens that I've got on there. So I'm going to stick the Armour Vision film on, so it's a new one for the start of the day. So I'm going to get that done. I've charged all my cameras. Yeah, we're looking good, ready to race. Quite a few people here already, still a bit of time yet, might be a few more coming in before scrutineering closes. Yeah, right, so let's go on with the prep. Speak to you in a bit. We've done the sighting lap and the first groups are off, and it is going to be fast and furious. Yeah, there's not a lot of overtaking in some places, and it's really quite tight. So it's going to be interesting. They've had to make the course a little bit easier, I guess, because of there's quite a few novice riders here and people on big bikes, and they're worried about people with grip and the wet grass. So yeah, best get saddled up because we're going to be off in a second. So you've got to start with your hands on your head because it's a... Is it? Dead engine start? Yeah, dead engine start. So those rally boys that have gone off first, they're going to have a bit of an advantage because they're going to have a clear track to get a fast lap in.
So we had a sighting lap before we started the race, but I still don't quite know which line I'm going to take yet, and which is the better line, and where the big potholes are, and where the faster bit is. So I'm still eyeing up the course at this point and still searching out the best line to take, whilst trying to avoid the slower riders. For going through the puddles, you kind of had two choices. You either went through slow, stayed a bit drier and kept your goggles dry and clean, or you went balls out, flat out, blasted through it, to keep your speed up, but then the negative consequence of that was your goggles getting wet and potentially getting water inside your goggles. Sometimes to pass the guy in front, you've just got to get a little bit creative. So I can see I've got these 3 riders here following each other, and I decide just to do something a little bit different and try a different line. And it also allows me to undercut this guy, take a different line, cut him on the inside, get out of his roost, get the power down, and that's another couple of riders past. Just before we started the race, the marshal made it clear that on this section we didn't have to go in the ditch. But obviously some people weren't paying attention or not listening, and they didn't get the memo. So they were still riding down in the ditch, and they were having a bit of a moan later on, I think. But hey, they should have been listening in the briefing. Bits, of course, where there's blue tape, that meant that the riders had to go at a walking pace. And as ever, you're stretching this to the limit. You're seeing what you can get away with. Sometimes there was a marshal there, sometimes there wasn't. But any little advantage you can get, half a wheel over the next guy, then you're going to take it, because it's a race, right? This is where my problems with goggles started on that first session. Having to slow down to a walking pace as we came over the start-finish line, it meant that the mist formed up in my goggles because there was no breeze running through my goggles. And then as we got onto this climb, I just couldn't see a thing at all. So I'm obviously starting to fiddle with my goggles and try and get some air flowing through them, but it's not doing much, and I can't really see where I'm going. Not well enough to go fast anyway. And add to that, I can now hear the guy behind me really breathing down my neck. obviously having this guy come past me, it's a little bit disheartening, and I'm already thinking, you know, what am I going to do? Shall I stop and take the spare goggles out of my rucksack and swap my goggles and then crack on, or shall I just keep persevering and see if I can get rid of the mist in my goggles? I'm not quite sure what to do, and and inside I'm starting to panic just a little bit.
Right, can't see fuck all, so I had to go adjust my glasses, but I'm not going to get roosted at the minute, so I'm just going to follow this guy who's really quick. Fucking hell.
So that's the first lap complete, but I've obviously got to do something about my goggles. Things aren't getting better. I've tried cleaning my glasses, tried cleaning my goggles on the move, so I eventually realised, look, I've got to stop, got to do something. So I stop, give the goggles and my glasses a good clean, and then get going again.
See a fucking thing.
It's not long before I realised that what I'm doing is just futile. What I really need to do is stop and change my goggles. I've got a spare clean set in my bag, so I might as well stick them on and hope that they see me through to the end of the first session.
Right, okay, so it's lunch break on day one. Yeah, so we've got lunch from 1 till 2. So first session done, which a bit of a mixed bag really. I got a good start, but then I just eventually couldn't see and having absolute nightmares with my goggles as per usual. So I eventually stopped and put some different goggles on, and that helped without my glasses. So I couldn't see properly, but I could see enough to maintain a reasonable pace. Yeah, so anyway, so just fueled up the bike, cleaned off a little bit, oiled the chain, having some food now, so having some Red Bull, malt loaf, bit of chocolate, drying my goggles out. So the sun was out a second ago, and it was quite warm in the sun, so just drying them out. They're drying out quite quickly actually, and drying my kit off. In fact, I'm just going to get in here because it is a bit chilly. Yeah, so that's an absolute nightmare. One of my GoPros, the doors come off. It's absolutely caked in mud, but it looks like it has recorded something. Anyway, so that's enough of the excuses. Anyway, so it's all really well. I mean, problems with Roost. Roost is an absolute nightmare, especially when you get up behind the big bikes, and yeah, you just get an absolute pummeling. So hence this has broke off, but that's happened before, so I'm not massively upset about that. That's, you know, that's why it's there. It is a bit sacrificial really. So yeah, but apart from that first session, apart from goggles, went pretty well. I would have preferred it to have been a bit more technical, but it's just fast and flat out, and yeah, a couple of ditches that they put in, but yeah, anyway, I know they've got the terrain here because I've done the Baja Rally, but I guess they keep it fairly simple for the big bikes. and sort of novice riders. But yeah, so far so good. So I'm just going to do a bit of a bolt check and finish off my Red Bull and get myself ready for the second session. Catch you in a bit.
In the Baja Rally, the winner of each class is the person that does the most laps, or if there's riders doing the same amount of laps, then it's the rider who sets the fastest lap. So in the first race, despite all the issues with my goggles, I did manage to set the fastest lap, which I was obviously pretty chuffed about, and then therefore I went into the second race feeling pretty confident. So all I needed to do was get a good start, get ahead, stay out front, and then hopefully I'd do the same again in the second race.
That wasn't fucking good, was it?
So obviously I got a bit of a rubbish start, which is not too much of a drama, but that does mean you're now going to have to pass more riders, which means more Roost, and you need to try and avoid the Roost as much as you can. Yeah, so I'm just going to have to pick my way through the riders and then eventually find my happy place and get into a bit of a rhythm.
Right, I can see a bit better this time. I've not missed it up, so I don't know if that's different goggles or what. I've got a bit of dirt inside my goggles. When you go through those puddles, it's kind of, you're kind of making it harder for yourself if you get your goggles piss wet through, but you kind of have to do it, otherwise you just get overtaken by people going faster through the puddles, and then you're stuck behind them on that fast stretch. Way fucking hard to see now going into the sun. So this is where the route changes. They've changed the route here, so we're going to go left here, I think. Over the slippiest bridge ever, he said. But he's warned you.
So in race 2 I did manage to get into a good groove and was able to maintain a pretty steady and fast pace. It's amazing what a difference it makes when the sun comes out and you can actually see through your goggles.
Fucking hell, where you going?
Unfortunately though, they had to cut race 2 short because on the new section down that main road, riders were going a bit too fast and the officials thought that it was just a bit unsafe. I was happy though, because in race 2 I'd managed to set the fastest time again.
It's getting pretty rough now. Yeah, getting really rough and shiny. So it's finding the best line, with finding grip. Look at it here, shiny, shiny, shiny.
On Sunday morning we got hit by a storm and the heavens opened. We got battered by over 40-mile-an-hour winds and we had a hell of a lot of rain. I didn't get too bad a start for race 3 and eventually found myself in a groove where I was just quite happy, plodding along. I was soaked to the bone, but I was reasonably warm. I could see a little bit, you know, the goggle thing wasn't as bad, which is weird considering how bad the weather was. But I just find myself in quite a nice happy place, chugging along on the Sunday and trying to maintain a reasonable pace. I guess eventually though the organisers thought we'd probably had enough, what with all the rain and the way things were going, and the track was obviously deteriorating, so they called it a day, and that was that. That was the end of the race. So yeah, it was great though. Really loved it. So that was the end of the race, and another great weekend at the Baja Rally. It had been very fast and very furious and very wet, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. Really great time. And as ever with these sorts of events, you know, one of the real bonuses is you get to meet new people and you get chatting about bikes and trail riding and all sorts of stuff. And obviously this constant bike porn. Yeah, it's a really great event and really worth it. So I didn't actually manage to find out where I finished in the third race. The race results hadn't come out by the time we left. But I did hang around for the presentation ceremony to see if I'd won anything. And thankfully I did. I came away with a trophy. So I did win my category of the up to 450cc trail bikes, under 60s. Yeah, so it was obviously a top weekend for me, and I'm pretty chuffed with that. You know, I won last time when I came here 2 years ago, and to win again, that's... well, you know, that's given me some good bragging rights, and yeah, I'll take that. And what a great trophy, eh? Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the vlog. I hope you've enjoyed the racing. I certainly did. I mean, you know what to do if you've enjoyed the content and you want to see some more. You know, you've got to do a bit of clicking and a bit of liking. And yeah, I'd appreciate if you could do that. But failing that, if I don't see you back on the channel, then maybe I'll just see you out on the trail riding your bike. So from me, from Mike, and from the Baja Rally, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you again soon. Bye for now.